Greetings everyone, it's your girl Lavender the Herbal Fairy, and I am out here in one of my favorite places in the world, as you all know, being outside in nature. Take a look around. The trees are bare for the most part because it is still winter time, even though it's like oddly warm. I'm in short sleeves. But today we're gonna work on what I like to call nature art. And one of the projects we're gonna do today is building a fairy home. I know, it's gonna be great. We're going to use only items that we can find out in the forest. So it's gonna take a lot of creativity and a lot of compassion for yourself, because it doesn't have to look like anything that you've seen before, something that comes out of your own mind. And we're gonna collect items that we see around, whether that be leaves, twigs, acorns, whatever it may be. And we're gonna create fairy homes. So I'm gonna show you a few things that I look for when I'm looking for a place to start and build my very own fairy home for the fairy forests that live in the woodlands. All right, one of the first things that I look for is something that kind of just calls my attention, or like llama mi atención. And this is one of the things behind me. So as you can see, there's like a pathway almost. It looks like it's a pathway of moss, and that just kind of screams my attention. Let's take a closer look. What calls my attention the most is it literally looks like something has just created a path of moss in between these leaves, and it looks like its very own sidewalk. So that is a potential spot for us to build our fairy home, and it leads right up to the trunk of the tree. So that already is something like, wow. So I'm walking this trail and I see this tree. It has like a fork in the road here and here, creates two paths. And then if you just take a peek, there's this little entrance into the tree. So this is a spot that I would be like, okay, that's perfect for a little fairy home. They could create right here. It's out in the open, but it's also a little hidden, and it takes a little time for you to notice that there's that hole down there. So that's one example. Another location I like is when a tree is kind of split. So this one kind of is split into three, and you can see it goes all the way up to the top. But I like trees like this because there's a space right in here that you could build something, and it could be really funky and really cool. This is even a better example of a tree. Look at that. It would be so cute to build a little fairy home right in that little pocket. And plus it still has the moss around the bottom, so you could build like a little trail, walkway up to the top right there. Another example that I like is a tree that has a mossy base, because something about moss for me is enchanting. And so of course a fairy would live in a place that's enchanted, and so something like this creates a beautiful little yard that's already pre-built for you. And this is even pretty. It has some of the roots exposed, so that would be a location I would look at as well.
All right, so let's get into it. I found this spot that I really like. It's an exposed tree trunk, and it has this nice rock right in the middle of it. And the first thing that I noticed were all of these twigs on the ground around the tree trunk. In my head, I thought that these would act as a good almost, I don't want to say fence, but I would say a barrier to show where this fairy home begins. What is the front yard, I should say. And these sticks can also act as little clotheslines. I didn't bring any string, but they could be a barrier, they could be clotheslines, but I just wanted to demonstrate with the twigs the front yard of the fairy home. As I began to build the perimeter of the front yard of the fairy home, I noticed that I did not have enough twigs of the same height. So I had to find some other twigs, break them apart, and begin to continue to build out the perimeter of where I wanted to construct my fairy home. I wanted to do it in a semicircle, because I didn't want to have too much space. Too much of a blank canvas can be overwhelming. This is one of my first few projects like this, and you see that the ground was a little bit easy to get those twigs into the ground. It had just rained, so it made it a little bit easier to stick them in there. And then I found these acorn tops that I wanted to place right on top of the rock that had already been there. I found some other acorns, and I kind of wanted this to be almost like the dinner table where the fairies have collected these acorns and they're collecting them in the fairy home. Next step, I wanted to collect some rocks, so I kind of walked away from the fairy home, found some different rocks that I thought would be great for creating a pathway into the home. So the open exposed part where the big first rock is would be the base of the home. And these white rocks that I was able to find, I had to clear out those other twigs first. The white rocks would act as a pathway, like a white rock design into the fairy home. I didn't collect enough, so I had to go back and get some more. And I tried to find rocks that were pretty decent size, since it's almost like the fairies would be stepping on each stone in order to get into the house. I thought that would be a really nice addition, and the white rocks would make this yard or this area stand out a little bit more. The white contrasts the mossy green and brown earthy tones. Next thing is I did find some more acorn tops, and again I wanted these acorns to act a little bit like collected dinner that the fairies may have found in the woods. And I broke down a few more twigs. I put them in a little pile so that could be in case the fairies wanted to do cook outside. They could have their firewood already chopped and prepared and ready to go. After the firewood, I took a little walk and I found this old tree bark, and I thought that'd be a good way to create maybe a door. So I tried out a couple things. I placed it against the base of the tree. I didn't like that. I decided to break it in half to see if I would like that anymore. And after putting it there, it didn't really give me what I was looking for, but I decided that it was good enough for now. I didn't want to get too critical during my creative process, and it kind of did give the illusion of a door in a sense. So I thought I could leave it there for a little bit, but it also had this gorgeous lichen on it. Also, breaking things outside was kind of nice. It was definitely a stress reliever, and the smell of the bark being broken after it had rained a little bit smelled really nicely. This maybe could be like a table that the fairies could use to hold all of the acorns that they've gathered, or that I've gathered for them. And I thought it could be a cute little table set. If I had more time, I would have put legs on the table, but limited time, and I thought that would work well enough if I just placed it in there. I moved out the original rock that was there, and I decided I needed a little bit more color, so I went out and tried to find these kind of reddish stones, and I also wanted to grab that brown leaf, and of course more acorns because it's winter time. I mean, hello, somebody's got to eat something. I really like the way that those white rocks came out as a pathway. I took out that bark and instead I added the leaf for a bit of a table, and I wanted to add these reddish stones just around in the perimeter of the front yard, just to give a pop of color, contrast to that mossy green and that dark earthy brown. And I mean, it doesn't have to do much, but I just wanted to add a little flicker of something different. And it could also be kind of like imagination. That's where they are planting their food. And the clayish, brownish rocks could represent some type of garden or agriculture. I had to take a step back, and I really appreciated everything as it came to life. And I wanted to add a couple more items. I found these pine needles. I thought that brown could help lay out the pathway a little bit more where those white rocks are. So I placed them alongside the white rocks just to give a little bit more detail. And I found this teeny tiny cute pine cone, and I added that right at the entrance of the fairy home just for good luck and prosperity. I found this other rock that was really neat, kind of flat, and I thought that that could be kind of like a good outdoor table for the fairies. And then I brought my own seashell just to add a little bit of flair. I don't know where to put it exactly yet, but maybe I can have it on the inside. I'll take that leaf out and just kind of have that seashell be there as kind of the finishing touch on the walkway from the white rocks from the bottom all the way into the inside the fairy home, adding that extra layer of magic and fun. Last but not least, I found this dried flower, which I was like, of what a beautiful way to end this fairy decor is with some dried flowers. Like, what are the odds that I would find that out there? And I added that right at the entrance of the fairy home because I felt like that was really welcoming and warming and nourishing. And of course, a fairy wants dried flowers in their home. But I was really pleased with the way that this kind of turned out. It was my first creation, and I'm pretty happy with it. What do you all think? Check it out.
Alright, y'all, I cannot wait to show you the final project. I am very excited about it. I think it came out very well for like my first fairy home, and I'm gonna just show you all the like pieces. I told you, I like to find spots that kind of already look like they have a pathway, and this looked like it already had a pathway in the moss, so I just went ahead and put white stones as like the stepping stones into the home right here. Then I like to put up like kind of a, not a fence so much, but kind of like a border around with these sticks, these twigs that went right into the ground. We already have a natural stone popping out here, so that could be something that just adds some additional texture. I got these colored rocks from another place, and that just adds a little bit of pop of color. It already kind of looks like this is an area where we could do like a little bit of gardening. We collected some firewood. There's a little pine cone to act like a little tree, or is it like what is it, something that like brings good energy at the entrance of the home. What else do we have? We've collected some food for the winter time, some acorns. We have this beautiful flower that greets you as you go into the home. And then of course I brought a shell because that's kind of my signature. And then I added this as just like the final border, since I didn't want to put any more sticks down. So that's the home. And then I put these pine cones to kind of I guess be like the border to the walkway. But that's the home, y'all. I'm so excited. I think it's super cute. It was a lot of fun to create and just kind of allow my mind to be free, create art, and do something totally different. So that is the fairy home.
After finishing having a creative moment outside, I wanted to continue my walking path, and there was this part that was the mountain overlook, and I just went to go see what the overlook looked like. Y'all, after building that first fairy home, I had to build another one. And I kept it pretty simple. The white rock, same thing, and just a little archway with the leaves and the twigs and the bark. Real simple, but acorns included. Just a nice little extra fairy home.
Thank you so much for your time today and for building and creating with me. I hope you enjoy this activity. Please leave in the comments how it went for you, what you discovered, what you found out about yourself while doing it, and what your creative process was like. I cannot wait to hear. And please look forward for more videos like this where we create nature art. Also, what I like to call analog art, because we don't need any of the digital equipment, right? So until next time, it's your girl Lavender, the Herbal Fairy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk very soon. Peace.